Did you know that penguins can launch their waist an astonishing distance of over 4 feet from their bodies? This remarkable ability helps keep their nests clean in the harshest environments on Earth. As you settle in tonight, let this curious fact remind you of the surprising wonders that exist in our natural world. These tuxedo-clad birds have evolved countless fascinating adaptations over millions of years, and tonight we shall explore them together in the most peaceful way possible. Let your breathing slow, let your shoulders relax, and allow the gentle stories of penguins to carry you toward restful slumber. Penguins are among the most beloved creatures on our planet, and there is something deeply comforting about their presence. These flightless birds have captured human hearts for centuries with their upright posture and dignified waddle. They move through life with a quiet determination that feels almost meditative to observe. In the stillness of this moment, imagine yourself watching a colony of penguins from a safe distance, the soft Antarctic breeze carrying the faint sounds of their gentle calls across the ice. There is no rush here, only the eternal rhythm of nature unfolding at its own peaceful pace. There are 18 recognized species of penguins in our world today, each one uniquely adapted to its particular corner of the Southern Hemisphere. From the majestic emperor penguin, standing nearly 4 feet tall, to the tiny little blue penguin, barely reaching 16 inches in height, these birds represent a beautiful spectrum of evolutionary creativity. As we journey through their world tonight, we shall meet many of these species, learning about their gentle habits and remarkable lives. For now, simply breathe deeply and allow yourself to feel the calm that comes from knowing you are about to embark on a soothing voyage of discovery. The emperor penguin is the largest of all penguin species, and watching one move across the ice is like witnessing a meditation in motion. These magnificent birds can weigh up to 88 pounds and have adapted to survive temperatures that would be unimaginable for most creatures. Yet they do so with grace and patience, huddling together for warmth in vast colonies that pulse with shared body heat. If you are enjoying this peaceful journey into the world of penguins, perhaps consider gently pressing the like button whenever you feel ready. Your support helps bring more calming content into the world, like ripples spreading across a still pond. And if these gentle penguin facts are helping you drift toward a state of calm relaxation, you might also consider subscribing to join our community of peaceful dreamers. There is no pressure, only an invitation to return whenever you need a moment of tranquility. Now let us continue our serene exploration. The Adélie penguin, with its distinctive white eye rings, inhabits the Antarctic coastline and surrounding islands. These charming birds build their nests from small stones, carefully selecting each pebble with the dedication of an artist choosing colors for a masterpiece. Their patience is a gentle reminder that beautiful things take time. The gentoo penguin earned its name from a Portuguese word, and these birds are known for their striking orange-red bills and the white patches above their eyes. Gentoos are the third largest penguin species and can be found across the sub-Antarctic islands and the Antarctic Peninsula. They are remarkably adaptable creatures, building nests from whatever materials they can find, whether stones, grass or even feathers shed by their neighbors. There is something deeply soothing about their resourcefulness, a quiet reminder that we too can adapt and find comfort with whatever resources surround us in this present moment. Chinstrap penguins derive their name from the thin black line that runs beneath their chin, appearing almost like a strap holding an invisible helmet in place. These medium-sized penguins are remarkably numerous, with estimates suggesting millions of breeding pairs scattered across Antarctic and subantarctic regions. They are known for their bold personalities and their tendency to nest on steep, rocky slopes where few predators dare to venture. As you listen to these words, imagine the gentle clicking sounds of pebbles beneath penguin feet, a natural percussion that is played across these icy shores for countless generations. The king penguin stands as the second largest penguin species, adorned with brilliant patches of orange and yellow on its head and chest. These regal birds can be found on subantarctic islands, where they gather in colonies that sometimes number in the hundreds of thousands. Unlike many penguin species, king penguins do not build nests at all. Instead, they balance their single egg on top of their feet, keeping it warm beneath a special fold of skin called a brood pouch. This intimate method of incubation represents one of nature's most tender arrangements, a constant physical connection between parent and future offspring. The little blue penguin, also affectionately known as the fairy penguin, is the smallest of all penguin species. These diminutive birds stand only about 16 inches tall and weigh merely 2 to 3 pounds when fully grown. They make their homes along the coastlines of southern Australia and New Zealand, often nesting in burrows that they dig into sandy soil or beneath coastal vegetation. Watching a little blue penguin waddle across a beach at dusk, returning home after a day of fishing, is one of nature's most heartwarming sights. Their small size only magnifies the courage they display in facing the vast ocean each day. The macaroni penguin sports one of the most distinctive appearances in the penguin world, featuring golden yellow crest feathers that sweep back from above each eye. These flamboyant plumes give the macaroni penguin an almost celebratory appearance, as though it is perpetually dressed for a festive occasion. The name itself comes from an 18th century English term for fashionable young men who wore elaborate feathered hats. Macaroni penguins are the most numerous of all penguin species, with an estimated population of over 12 million breeding pairs. Their abundance is a comforting reminder of nature's resilience and capacity for flourishing life. The rockhopper penguin is perhaps the most energetic member of the penguin family, known for its remarkable ability to navigate rocky terrain by hopping rather than waddling. These spirited birds have distinctive red eyes and spiky yellow and black crest feathers that give them a perpetually surprised expression. Despite their small stature, standing only about 20 inches tall, rockhoppers display tremendous courage when leaping from rock to rock along steep coastal cliffs. Their determination to reach their nesting sites, no matter how challenging the terrain, speaks to the quiet persistence that exists within all living things, including you as you rest here tonight. The yellow-eyed penguin of New Zealand is considered one of the rarest penguin species in the world, with a population of only a few thousand individuals. These solitary birds prefer to nest in coastal forests rather than in large colonies, spacing their nests far apart from their neighbors. Their striking yellow eyes and pale yellow headband make them instantly recognizable, and the Maori people of New Zealand call them hoi-ho, meaning noise shouter, for their distinctive calls at dusk. There is something poignant about their rarity, a gentle reminder to treasure the unique and precious things in our world, including this quiet moment of rest you are giving yourself. The Galapagos penguin holds the unique distinction of being the only penguin species to live north of the equator in the wild. These remarkable birds have adapted to the warm tropical waters of the Galapagos Islands, where cool ocean currents provide them with abundant food. Standing about 20 inches tall, they are among the smaller penguin species, and their presence so far from the frozen Antarctic demonstrates the incredible adaptability of the penguin family. As you breathe slowly and deeply, consider how these birds have found their own path to survival, carving out a peaceful existence in an unexpected corner of the world. While penguins may appear somewhat awkward on land, they transform into creatures of extraordinary grace once they enter the water. Their bodies are perfectly streamlined for swimming, and their wings have evolved into powerful flippers that propel them through the ocean with remarkable efficiency. The Gentoo penguin holds the record as the fastest swimming penguin, capable of reaching speeds that's up to 22 miles per hour underwater. Imagine gliding through cool, crystal clear waters with such effortless speed, the world above fading into a peaceful blur as you move through the silent blue depths. This is the daily experience of every penguin. Emperor penguins are the deepest diving birds on Earth, capable of descending to depths of over 1,800 feet beneath the ocean surface. These incredible dives can last for more than 20 minutes, during which time the penguin's heart rate slows dramatically to conserve oxygen. The pressure at such depths would be crushing to most creatures, yet emperor penguins navigate this underwater realm with calm determination. As you settle deeper into relaxation, think of your own breath slowing, your own heart finding its gentle rhythm, much like these magnificent divers who have mastered the art of moving peacefully through the deep. Penguins possess a remarkable adaptation in their eyes that allows them to see equally well in air and water. Their corneas are flat rather than curved, which compensates for the different way light bends when passing through water versus air. This means that as a penguin dives beneath the waves, the underwater world comes into sharp focus, revealing a realm of swirling fish, drifting jellyfish, and dancing plankton. The transition from one world to another happens seamlessly for these birds, a gentle shift between two different ways of seeing. Perhaps tonight, you too are making a gentle transition from the busy world of waking to the peaceful realm of rest. When penguins swim near the surface, they often engage in a behavior called porpoising, leaping out of the water in graceful arcs before diving back beneath the waves. This technique serves multiple purposes, allowing them to breathe quickly while maintaining their speed and also possibly confusing any predators that might be watching from below. The sight of a group of penguins porpoising across the ocean surface is one of nature's most joyful displays, their sleek black and white bodies catching the sunlight for brief, sparkling moments before disappearing again into the blue. It is a dance between two worlds, performed with effortless precision. The feathers of a penguin are uniquely designed for their aquatic lifestyle, being short, dense, and overlapping like tiles on a roof. A single penguin may have over 100 feathers per square inch of skin, creating an incredibly effective waterproof barrier. Beneath this outer layer lies a soft down that traps warm air close to the body, providing insulation against the frigid Antarctic waters. When penguins preen, they spread oil from a gland near their tail across their feathers, maintaining this vital waterproofing. The meticulous care they give to their plumage is a form of self-nurturing that all creatures understand, including you as you care for yourself through this moment of rest. Penguins have evolved a counter-current heat exchange system in their flippers and legs that prevents them from losing too much body heat to the cold water. Warm blood flowing toward the extremities passes close to cold blood, returning to the body, transferring heat between them. This elegant biological design means that a penguin can spend hours in waters just above freezing while maintaining a core body temperature similar to your own. Nature has provided these birds with an internal warmth that sustains them through the coldest conditions imaginable. As you lie here, warm and comfortable, you share this gift of internal warmth with creatures across the globe. When hunting, penguins display remarkable intelligence and cooperation. Some species have been observed working together to herd schools of fish into tight balls, making them easier to catch. This coordinated hunting behavior suggests a level of communication and social awareness that scientists are only beginning to fully understand. Each penguin seems to know its role in the hunt, moving with purpose, yet without apparent anxiety. There is efficiency in their teamwork, but also a certain peaceful rhythm, as though the hunt itself is simply another natural movement in the great dance of ocean life. What fascinating creatures share our world tonight as you drift gently toward sleep. The habitats of penguins span a remarkable range of environments across the Southern Hemisphere, from the frozen expanses of Antarctica to the temperate forests of New Zealand and even the tropical shores of the Galapagos Islands. Each species has found its own particular corner of the world where conditions align perfectly with their needs. The Antarctic continent, with its vast ice shelves and freezing temperatures, is home to the emperor and Adélie penguins, while the sub-Antarctic islands host species like the king, gentoo, and macaroni penguins. These varied landscapes remind us that home can take many forms, and that comfort can be found in the most unexpected places. Antarctica, the coldest and driest continent on Earth, might seem like an unlikely home for any creature, yet penguins have thrived here for millions of years. The ice shelves that extend from the Antarctic coast provide stable platforms where colonies can gather, protected from the worst of the winter storms. During the brief Antarctic summer, when temperatures can rise to just below freezing, these icy landscapes transform into bustling nurseries filled with penguin chicks and their attentive parents. The cycle of seasons here moves with a slow, predictable rhythm that penguins have followed since long before humans walked the earth. Tonight, let that ancient rhythm soothe you into peaceful rest. The sub-Antarctic islands, scattered like stepping stones between Antarctica and the southern tips of continents, provide some of the most densely populated penguin habitats on Earth. Islands such as South Georgia, the Falklands, and Macquarie Island host colonies numbering in the hundreds of thousands. These islands offer a slightly milder climate than the Antarctic mainland, with tussock grass providing nesting material and protection from the elements. The sound of countless penguin voices calling across these windswept shores creates a natural symphony that is played continuously for countless generations. Imagine that gentle chorus now, a lullaby composed by nature itself. In New Zealand, the yellow-eyed penguin makes its home in coastal forests where ancient trees meet the sea. These penguins prefer to nest in solitude, finding sheltered spots beneath vegetation where they can raise their young away from the bustle of crowded colonies. The forests provide protection from both predators and harsh weather, and the nearby waters offer abundant food. This more secretive lifestyle sets the yellow-eyed penguin apart from its more social cousins, reminding us that there are many valid ways to live, and that solitude can be just as nourishing as community. Perhaps you have found your own quiet place tonight, a personal sanctuary for rest. The African penguin, once known as the jackass penguin for its donkey-like braying call, inhabits the coastal areas of South Africa and Namibia. These resilient birds have adapted to the warm Benguela current, which brings cold, nutrient-rich waters up from the deep. They nest in burrows, they dig into sandy soil, or in natural crevices among coastal boulders, seeking shade from the African sun. The sight of penguins waddling across sun-baked beaches seems almost improbable, yet these birds have thrived along these shores for ages. Nature continues to surprise us with her endless creativity, finding ways to sustain life in the most unexpected circumstances. Some penguin species demonstrate remarkable fidelity to their nesting sites, returning to the exact same spot year after year, sometimes across decades of their lives. This homing instinct is so strong that penguins can navigate across thousands of miles of open ocean to return to the precise patch of ground where they were born. Scientists believe they use a combination of magnetic field sensing, the position of the sun and stars, and even the smell of their home colony to find their way. The idea of such unwavering devotion to home is deeply comforting, a reminder that some things in this world remain constant and reliable, just like the steady rhythm of your own breathing. The construction of penguin nests varies greatly between species, each one reflecting the unique challenges of their environment. Adélie and chinstrap penguins build nests from small stones, carefully selecting and arranging each pebble to create a raised platform that keeps eggs above any meltwater. Gentoo penguins are less particular, using a mixture of stones, grass, and even bones from long-departed whales. Burrowing species like the little blue penguin dig tunnels into soft earth, creating underground chambers where darkness and stable temperatures protect their eggs. What favorite place have you created for yourself tonight as you settle in for sleep? A nest of pillows and blankets, perhaps? penguin colonies can range in size from just a few dozen pairs to gatherings of over 1 million individuals. The largest known colony of penguins exists on Zavodovsky Island in the South Sandwich Islands, where an estimated 2 million chinstrap penguins come together each breeding season. The sheer density of life in such places is almost beyond comprehension. Yet somehow, each penguin finds its place, each family maintains its small territory, and the colony functions as a harmonious whole. There is a lesson here about finding peace within crowds, about maintaining inner calm even when surrounded by the busy activity of others. The microclimate within a penguin colony can be significantly warmer than the surrounding environment, thanks to the combined body heat of thousands of birds standing close together. On the coldest Antarctic nights, when temperatures can plunge to -40 degrees or lower, emperor penguins form tight huddles that rotate slowly, allowing each bird to spend time at the warm center before moving to the colder edge. This cooperative behavior ensures that no single penguin bears the full brunt of the cold for too long. It is a beautiful example of how communities can support each member through difficult times, sharing warmth both literal and metaphorical. Despite the harshness of their environments, penguin colonies often become hubs of biodiversity, attracting other species who benefit from their presence. Seabirds like skuas and sheathbills patrol the edges of colonies, while seals sometimes rest on nearby beaches. The guano deposited by penguins over centuries enriches the soil, allowing hardy plants to grow in otherwise barren landscapes. Even the smallest penguin colony contributes to the web of life that surrounds it, demonstrating how every creature plays a role in maintaining the delicate balance of nature. You too are part of this interconnected web, your peaceful rest tonight, sending gentle ripples of calm into the world. The swimming abilities of penguins represent one of nature's most remarkable evolutionary achievements. Though they lost the power of flight millions of years ago, penguins gained something equally impressive in return. Their wings transformed into flippers capable of propelling them through water with the grace and speed of dolphins. The density of their bones, heavier than those of flying birds, helps them dive beneath the waves rather than floating on the surface. Every aspect of the penguin body has been refined over countless generations for life in the ocean, creating swimmers of extraordinary efficiency. As you rest tonight, your own body knows how to be efficient too, naturally slowing and restoring itself. Different penguin species have evolved to hunt at different depths, reducing competition for food even when multiple species share the same waters. Emperor penguins dive deepest, reaching the dark zones where larger fish and squid hide. King penguins typically hunt at shallower depths, around 300 feet, while smaller species like the little blue penguin rarely venture below 60 feet. This vertical partitioning of the ocean means that each species has found its own niche, its own comfortable hunting ground where food is reliably available. Nature has a way of creating space for everyone, ensuring that different needs can be met without conflict. When preparing to dive, penguins fill their lungs with air and also trap additional oxygen in their muscles through a protein called myoglobin. This adaptation allows them to stay submerged far longer than would otherwise be possible. As they descend, their heart rate slows automatically, conserving precious oxygen for essential functions. The deepest dives of emperor penguins can last at over 20 minutes, a remarkable feat of breath control that human freedivers can only aspire to approach. There is something meditative about imagining such controlled, slow breathing, each moment underwater stretching out in peaceful silence. Perhaps you might take a deep breath now, holding it gently before releasing it slowly. The primary prey of most penguin species includes small fish, squid, and krill, those tiny shrimp-like creatures that form the foundation of Antarctic food webs. A single Adélie penguin can consume up to 2 pounds of krill in a single day during the busy breeding season when they must feed both themselves and their hungry chicks. The pink coloration, often visible in penguin guano, comes from the pigments in these krill passing through the penguin's digestive system and leaving colorful marks on the ice and rocks. This simple biological fact is a reminder of how deeply interconnected all living things are, each creature leaving its subtle mark on the world around it. Penguins must be ever vigilant while hunting, for the same waters that provide their food also harbor their predators. Leopard seals, with their large heads and powerful jaws, are the primary threat to penguins in Antarctic waters. Orcas, those majestic black and white hunters, also prey on penguins when the opportunity arises. Yet despite these dangers, penguins continue to enter the water each day, driven by the need to eat and to feed their young. Their courage is quiet and matter of fact, a simple acceptance that life involves both risk and reward. The water that sustains them also challenges them, and they meet that challenge with remarkable composure. After a successful hunt, penguins face the challenge of returning to land, often having to navigate through surf and scramble up rocky shores. Their strong feet and sharp claws provide excellent grip on wet rocks, while their low center of gravity helps them maintain balance against crashing waves. Some species, like the rockhopper penguin, have become particularly adept at navigating challenging coastal terrain, timing their exits from the water to coincide with receding waves. Watching a penguin emerge from the sea, shake the water from its feathers, and waddle toward its waiting family is one of nature's simple pleasures, a small triumph repeated countless times each day across the southern oceans. The underwater hearing of penguins is remarkably acute, allowing them to detect the movements of prey and predators alike in the murky depths. While their ear openings are small and covered by feathers, the structures inside are well developed and sensitive to a wide range of frequencies. Penguins may also use their hearing to locate each other underwater, coordinating their movements during group hunts. The ocean is far from silent to these birds, filled with the clicks and calls of sea life, the rumble of shifting ice, and the rushing sound of their own passage through the water. Sound carries differently underwater, creating a world of acoustic wonder. Some researchers have observed penguins engaging in what appears to be play behavior while swimming, rolling, and tumbling through the water in ways that seem to serve no practical purpose other than enjoyment. Young penguins especially seem to delight in their aquatic abilities, chasing each other through the shallows and practicing the hunting techniques they will need as adults. This playfulness speaks to an inner joy that exists within these birds, a capacity for experiencing life beyond mere survival. Perhaps there is something reassuring in knowing that even in the harsh Antarctic, creatures find moments of simple happiness. May you find such moments too in the peacefulness of this night. The Magellanic penguin, named after the explorer Ferdinand Magellan, who first spotted them in 1520, swims along the coasts of Argentina and Chile, sometimes venturing as far north as Brazil. These medium-sized penguins are particularly long-distance swimmers, covering hundreds of miles during their winter migrations in search of food. Their journeys take them through waters that vary dramatically in temperature and salinity, yet they navigate these changes with remarkable adaptability. Like all great travelers, Magellanic penguins carry their home within themselves, finding comfort and security wherever their journeys take them. Tonight, wherever you are, may you feel that same sense of being at home within yourself. When penguins sleep in the water, which they sometimes do during long fishing expeditions, they adopt a position known as logging, floating motionless at the surface with just their heads above water. In this state, they can rest while remaining alert to danger, their brains possibly engaging in unhemispheric sleep, where one half remains awake while the other rests. This remarkable adaptation allows them to find rest even in the most exposed situations, a reminder that sleep can come to those who need it, regardless of circumstances. Your own body knows how to find rest, and tonight it is doing exactly what it was designed to do, easing gently toward peaceful slumber. The diet of penguins varies by species and location, but all penguins are carnivorous, feeding exclusively on marine animals. Fish form the primary diet for many larger species, while smaller penguins often rely more heavily on krill and small crustaceans. The king penguin has a particular fondness for lanternfish, those small bioluminescent creatures that inhabit the deep waters where they hunt. Each penguin species has evolved to exploit a particular food source, their beaks and digestive systems finely tuned to the prey they pursue. This specialization ensures that each species can thrive without competing directly with its neighbors for the same resources. Krill are among the most abundant animals on Earth, with estimates suggesting their combined weight exceeds that of all humans combined. These small crustaceans, rarely longer than 2 inches, form vast swarms that can stretch for miles across the Antarctic Ocean. For penguins, those swarms represent bountiful feeding opportunities, allowing them to consume large quantities of food in a relatively short time. The pink and orange hues of krill come from the algae they eat, and this coloration passes up through the food chain, contributing to the beautiful pink sunsets reflected on Antarctic ice. Even the tiniest creatures play their part in painting the world with color. Penguins possess backward-facing spines on their tongues and the roofs of their mouths, an adaptation that helps them grip slippery prey. Once a fish or squid is caught, these spines ensure it cannot escape, guiding it smoothly toward the throat. The tongue itself is rigid and muscular, capable of powerful movements that assist in swallowing prey whole. Penguins do not chew their food, but swallow it entire, their flexible throats expanding to accommodate surprisingly large catches. This efficient feeding method allows them to consume as much as possible during each hunting trip, building up the energy reserves they need for the demanding tasks of survival and reproduction. Parent penguins feed their chicks through regurgitation, bringing partially digested food back from their stomachs to transfer directly into the waiting beaks of their young. This might sound unusual, but it is actually a highly efficient method of food delivery, allowing the nutrients to be partially processed before the chick receives them. The parent-chick feeding ritual involves specific calls and behaviors that help ensure the food reaches the right recipient in the crowded chaos of a colony. Watching a penguin chick eagerly awaiting its meal, calling persistently until the parent responds, reveals the depth of connection that exists within penguin families. During the breeding season, penguin parents may fast for extended periods while incubating eggs or guarding young chicks. Male emperor penguins hold the record for the longest fast, going without food for up to 4 months while balancing their eggs on their feet through the Antarctic winter. During this time, they survive entirely on fat reserves accumulated during the preceding feeding season. Their bodies become remarkably efficient at conserving energy, metabolism slowing to match their reduced activity. This capacity for patience and endurance is truly remarkable, a quiet testament to the lengths parents will go to ensure the survival of the next generation. Penguins drink salt water, having evolved specialized glands above their eyes that filter excess salt from their bloodstream. This salt is then expelled through their nostrils, often visible as a crusty white residue around their bills. This adaptation frees penguins from dependence on fresh water, allowing them to remain at sea for extended periods without needing to return to land for drinking water. The efficiency of these supraorbital glands is remarkable, processing salt water almost as fast as a penguin can drink it. Nature has provided these birds with everything they need to thrive in their challenging ocean environment. The caloric needs of penguins fluctuate dramatically throughout the year, reaching peaks during molting when they must replace all their feathers, and during breeding when they must feed growing chicks. A hungry penguin returning from a successful hunt might have consumed up to 1/3 of its body weight in fish and krill. This food will be either digested for personal energy needs or stored for later transfers to a waiting chick. The careful balance between eating enough and not becoming too heavy to swim efficiently is one penguins navigate instinctively, their appetites naturally adjusting to match the demands of each season. Some penguin species have been observed using bubbles as a hunting tool, releasing air from their feathers to create curtains of bubbles that confuse and concentrate their prey. This clever technique may help herd fish into tighter groups where they can be more easily caught. The intelligence required for such strategic hunting suggests that penguins are more cognitively sophisticated than their simple appearance might suggest. Their brains, while small, are capable of learning, remembering, and adapting to changing circumstances. In this, as in so many things, penguins remind us not to underestimate the wisdom that can exist in even the most unassuming packages. The timing of penguin breeding seasons is closely linked to the availability of food, with most species timing their reproduction to coincide with peak abundance of their preferred prey. This synchronization ensures that hungry chicks will have access to plenty of nourishment during the critical growth period. In the Antarctic, this means breeding during the slightly warmer summer months when krill populations explode and fish are abundant. Further north, where seasons are less extreme, breeding may occur at different times of year depending on local conditions. Nature has carefully calibrated these cycles over countless generations, creating rhythms as reliable as the tides themselves. After a particularly successful foraging trip, penguins may engage in a behavior called stomach pumping, where they work their abdominal muscles to compress their full stomachs and make room for a bit more food. This allows them to maximize the amount of nutrition they can bring back to their colonies, a particularly important adaptation for species that must travel great distances between feeding grounds and nesting sites. The dedication of parent penguins to providing for their young is deeply touching, each hunting trip a journey of love undertaken in service of the next generation. May such dedication inspire peaceful dreams as you drift gently toward sleep. Penguins are among the most social birds on Earth, living their entire lives within the embrace of their colonies. From the moment a penguin chick hatches, it is surrounded by the comforting presence of others, never truly alone in the vast Antarctic wilderness. This social nature serves many practical purposes, from shared warmth to collective vigilance against predators, but it also seems to fulfill a deeper need for companionship. Penguins that become separated from their colonies often show signs of distress, calling repeatedly in an attempt to locate familiar voices. We humans share this need for connection, and there is comfort in knowing that we are part of a community, even when we rest alone. Within the apparent chaos of a large penguin colony, there exists a surprising degree of order and mutual respect. Each breeding pair maintains a small territory around their nest, typically just large enough to prevent neighbors from reaching over to steal nesting materials or disturb their eggs. These territories are established through displays and vocalizations rather than physical conflict, with most disputes resolved through posturing and calling. The boundaries between neighbors are generally well understood and respected, creating a peaceful coexistence even in the most crowded conditions. There is wisdom in this arrangement, a reminder that even in close quarters, harmony is possible when boundaries are clear and mutually honored. Penguin pairs often engage in mutual preening, a behavior that serves both practical and social purposes. By helping each other reach difficult spots on their heads and backs, penguins keep their vital waterproofing in good condition while also strengthening their pair bond. These grooming sessions can last for many minutes, the two birds standing close together, bills working gently through each other's feathers. The trust implied in such intimate contact speaks to the depth of connection that can form between penguin partners. What kinds of gentle gestures strengthen the bonds in your own life, creating connections that sustain you through challenging times? Young penguin chicks often gather together in groups called creches, which allow both parents to go fishing simultaneously while leaving their offspring under the watchful eyes of a few adult guardians. These creches can contain hundreds or even thousands of chicks huddled together for warmth and protection. The adults that remain behind to supervise are not necessarily the parents of any particular chick, yet they perform their guardian duties with dedication. When parents return from fishing, they locate their own chick among the masses through distinctive calls that have been learned since hatching. This community childcare system demonstrates how cooperation can benefit everyone involved. Penguins communicate through a rich vocabulary of vocalizations, each call serving a specific purpose in their social lives. Contact calls help pairs locate each other in crowded colonies, while display calls announce territorial boundaries and attract potential mates. Alarm calls alert the colony to approaching predators, sending ripples of alertness through the gathered birds. Scientists have identified dozens of distinct call types across different penguin species, each with its own meaning and context. The symphony of sounds in a penguin colony might seem cacophonous to human ears, but to the penguins themselves, it is a meaningful conversation full of important information about the world around them. The greeting ritual between penguin partners returning to each other after a separation is one of nature's most touching displays. The returning bird approaches with head bobbing and flippers extended, while its mate responds in kind. They may stand breast to breast, calling loudly in what scientists term an ecstatic display, their voices rising and falling in a duet that reaffirms their bond. These reunions can be surprisingly emotional to witness, the obvious joy of reconnection visible in their animated movements and persistent calling. In that moment, the cold Antarctic seems a little warmer, touched by the undeniable warmth of penguin love. Stone stealing is a common occurrence in Adélie and chinstrap penguin colonies, where nests are built from carefully selected pebbles. A penguin may spend considerable effort selecting the perfect stone, only to have it stolen by a neighbor the moment attention is diverted. Some penguins seem particularly skilled at this petty theft, managing to pilfer dozens of stones while their neighbors' backs are turned. Yet despite this constant, low-level larceny, the colonies remain peaceful, the stolen stones simply circulating from nest to nest without causing serious conflict. Perhaps there is a lesson here about not becoming too attached to material things, accepting the flow of fortune with grace. When penguins travel between the ocean and their colonies, they often move in groups, following established pathways that have been used by generations before them. These penguin highways wind across ice and rock, worn smooth by countless webbed feet over the years. Moving in groups provides safety in numbers, reducing the risk that any individual penguin will fall prey to a lurking predator. The sight of a line of penguins waddling purposefully along their traditional route is both charming and reassuring, a reminder that there is a wisdom in following well-trodden paths. Tonight, you too are following a path toward rest, one that humans have walked since the beginning of time. Penguin colonies produce a distinctive smell that can be detected from miles away, a combination of guano, fish, and the natural oils in their feathers. While this might seem unpleasant to human senses, for penguins returning from the sea, this familiar scent is the smell of home. Odor plays an important role in penguin navigation, helping them locate their colonies even in poor visibility conditions. Parents and chicks can also recognize each other by smell, adding another layer to the complex identification systems that allow families to reunite in crowded colonies. Home has many signatures, and for penguins, scent is surely one of the most important. Some penguin species form same-sex pairs that function much like male-female partnerships in every way except reproduction. These pairs engage in the same bonding behaviors, defending territories together, building nests together, and in some cases, even attempting to incubate abandoned eggs or stones. Zoos and aquariums around the world have documented many such relationships, some lasting for decades. The capacity for deep pair bonding appears to be fundamental to penguin nature, expressing itself regardless of the genders involved. In their simple acceptance of these variations, penguin colonies model a tolerance that we might all aspire to, finding room for every kind of connection. The breeding cycle of penguins is carefully timed to give chicks the best possible chance of survival. For Antarctic species, this means hatching in spring when temperatures are beginning to rise and food is becoming more abundant. The parents have spent months preparing for this moment, accumulating fat reserves, finding mates, and establishing nesting sites. When the chick finally emerges from its shell, it enters a world that has been made ready for its arrival. There is something deeply reassuring about this careful preparation, a reminder that nature provides when the time is right. Your own body prepares for sleep with similar care, each relaxation response making you ready for rest. Penguin courtship often involves elaborate displays and gift-giving behaviors. Male Adélie penguins present carefully selected pebbles to potential mates, an offering that demonstrates both their construction abilities and their commitment to the future nest. Other species engage in bowing displays where potential partners face each other and dip their heads repeatedly in a formal-looking dance. These courtship rituals may seem quaint to human observers, but they serve vital purposes, allowing penguins to assess potential mates and synchronize their breeding behaviors. The patience with which penguins pursue their courtships reminds us that meaningful connections take time to develop. Most penguin species lay 2 eggs, though emperor and king penguins lay only 1. The incubation period varies by species, ranging from about 30 days for smaller penguins to over 60 days for the emperor penguin. Throughout this time, parents take turns keeping the eggs warm, alternating between incubation duty and foraging trips. The transfer of an egg from one parent to another is performed with remarkable delicacy, the precious cargo passed quickly from feet to minimize heat loss. Each transfer represents an act of trust between partners, a moment of vulnerability that strengthens their bond. Emperor penguin eggs are incubated entirely on the feet of the parents, protected by a fold of warm skin called a brood pouch. The male takes primary responsibility for this duty, standing motionless for up to 4 months through the brutal Antarctic winter while the female returns to the sea to feed. The dedication required for this task is almost beyond comprehension, the male losing up to half his body weight while protecting the egg from temperatures that can drop to minus 80 degrees. This ultimate act of paternal devotion ensures that when spring arrives, a new generation will be ready to meet the world. When penguin chicks first hatch, they are covered in soft down that provides insulation but is not waterproof. They are entirely dependent on their parents for food and warmth during their first weeks of life, unable to regulate their own body temperature. The chicks grow rapidly on their diet of regurgitated fish and krill, their fluffy down gradually being replaced by the sleek, waterproof feathers of adulthood. Watching a tiny penguin chick transform into a fully fledged juvenile over the course of a few months is witnessing one of nature's most accelerated growth processes. Change happens, sometimes faster than we expect, carrying us toward new stages of being. Parent penguins recognize their own chicks through a combination of vocal calls and individual scent. This recognition begins even before hatching, as chicks inside the egg begin calling and parents respond, establishing the first threads of their lifelong connection. After hatching, parents reinforce this bond through frequent contact and continued vocal exchange. When a parent returns from a fishing trip, it will call loudly as it enters the colony, listening for the specific response of its own chick among thousands of nearly identical voices. This remarkable ability to find one beloved individual in a sea of similarity speaks to the power of attention and familiarity. The fledging process, when young penguins finally leave their colonies to begin life at sea, is both exciting and dangerous. Young penguins must master swimming on their own, having never been taught by their parents how to hunt or navigate the ocean. Their first plunge into the water is guided purely by instinct, millions of years of evolutionary programming activating at the crucial moment. Many will not survive their first year, but those who do will eventually return to the colonies where they were born, ready to begin the breeding cycle anew. Each generation carries forward the accumulated wisdom of all who came before. Penguin lifespans vary considerably between species, with smaller penguins generally living shorter lives than their larger cousins. Little blue penguins typically live 6 to 10 years, while emperor penguins can survive for over 20 years in the wild. The oldest known penguin in captivity lived to be over 40 years old, far exceeding normal wild lifespans. Throughout their lives, penguins return again and again to the same colonies, following the same seasonal rhythms, forming the same types of bonds. There is comfort in this repetition, a reliable pattern that structures their existence from beginning to end, much like the reliable patterns that bring sleep each night. When a penguin loses its mate, it may spend considerable time calling and searching before eventually accepting the loss. Some penguins have been observed returning to the same nesting site year after year, apparently waiting for a partner that will never return. Eventually, most widowed penguins will find new mates and continue breeding, but the period of mourning can be surprisingly extended. Scientists debate whether penguins truly experience grief as humans understand it, but their behaviors suggest at least some emotional response to loss. Perhaps in this, as in so many things, we share more with our animal relatives than we sometimes realize. Despite the many challenges of raising young in harsh environments, penguin reproductive success rates can be remarkably high when conditions are favorable. In good years, with plenty of food and stable weather, most breeding pairs will successfully raise at least one chick to fledging. These boom years help offset the losses from difficult seasons, maintaining stable populations over time. The resilience of penguin populations in the face of environmental variability demonstrates nature's capacity for balance, for finding equilibrium even in unpredictable conditions. Tonight, as you seek your own equilibrium between waking and sleeping, trust that balance will come naturally, as it does for all living things. The vocalizations of penguins are as varied and distinctive as human voices, each individual possessing a unique acoustic signature that allows for recognition among thousands of colony mates. These calls contain information about identity, emotional state, and intent, communicating messages that we are only beginning to understand. The trumpeting call of an emperor penguin can carry across vast distances, cutting through wind and background noise to reach its intended recipient. Oh, as you rest tonight, perhaps imagine the peaceful sounds of a penguin colony at dusk, a chorus of gentle calls settling into evening quiet, each voice finding its place in the natural symphony. King penguin chicks produce a distinctive whistling call that helps parents locate them in the densely packed creches where they spend much of their juvenile period. This call develops in the egg, with chicks beginning to vocalize even before hatching, and parents learning to recognize their offspring's unique voice from the very first sounds. The acoustic properties of these calls remain stable as the chick grows, allowing parents to find their young even as they change dramatically in size and appearance. This consistency in voice amid physical transformation is a reminder that some aspects of identity remain constant even as we change and grow. Body language plays an equally important role in penguin communication, with specific postures conveying clear messages to other colony members. A penguin standing tall with flippers held slightly away from its body is displaying confidence and dominance, while one hunched down with bill tucked toward its chest is showing submission. These visual signals help maintain social order within colonies, allowing disputes to be resolved without physical contact in most cases. The ability to read and respond to these subtle cues keeps penguin society functioning smoothly, each individual understanding its place within the larger community. How much we communicate without words through the language of our bodies. The ecstatic display of penguins, performed by pointing the bill toward the sky and calling loudly while waving the flippers, serves multiple communication purposes. Single penguins use this display to advertise their availability to potential mates, while paired penguins perform it together to strengthen their bond and announce their territory to neighbors. The intensity and duration of these displays can vary depending on context, with reuniting partners often engaging in particularly prolonged and enthusiastic performances. Watching two penguins engage in synchronized ecstatic displays is witnessing a celebration of connection, a joyous affirmation of partnership. Penguins produce a variety of sounds beyond their primary vocalizations, including including bill clicking, growling, and even hissing when threatened. These additional sounds expand the range of messages penguins can convey, adding nuance to their already rich communication system. A rapid series of bill clicks might indicate excitement or agitation, while a low growl warns others to keep their distance. Even the sound of feet shuffling on ice can convey information about activity levels and movement patterns. The acoustic environment of a penguin colony is constantly shifting, a living soundscape that reflects the moods and activities of its inhabitants. Scientists have discovered that penguin calls contain two distinct sound sources produced simultaneously by specialized structures in their throats. This two-voice system, similar to that found in some songbirds, allows penguins to generate complex acoustic patterns that carry more information than a single voice could. The ability to produce and decode these layered signals suggests sophisticated auditory processing capabilities in the penguin brain. Nature has equipped these birds with communication tools as refined as any human technology, evolved over millions of years to meet the specific challenges of colony life. How remarkable that such complexity exists within these seemingly simple creatures. Alarm calls spread rapidly through penguin colonies when predators are detected, creating waves of alertness that can span thousands of birds in seconds. The structure of these alarm calls differs from regular vocalizations, containing acoustic elements that seem designed to capture attention and convey urgency. Penguins respond to alarm calls by becoming vigilant, looking toward the source of the alert and preparing to flee if necessary. This collective early warning system benefits every member of the colony, demonstrating how individual vigilance serves the community. There are no alarms needed now, only the peaceful sounds of night settling around you as you drift toward sleep. The African penguin is sometimes called the jackass penguin due to its braying call, which bears a striking resemblance to the sound made by donkeys. This loud, distinctive vocalization can be heard from considerable distances and plays an important role in mate attraction and territorial defense. Other penguin species have their own distinctive calls, from the trumpeting of emperors to the chirping of little blue penguins. Each species has developed vocalizations suited to its particular environment and social structure, creating a diverse array of penguin voices across the world. What a symphony of different sounds penguins contribute to the music of our planet. Recent research has begun exploring whether penguins can understand calls from other penguin species. Studies suggest that while penguins primarily respond to calls from their own kind, they may also recognize certain acoustic features in the calls of related species. This cross-species recognition could help penguins identify shared predators or favorable feeding conditions. The possibility that penguins possess a rudimentary understanding of other penguin languages opens fascinating questions about animal cognition and the evolution of communication. As you listen to these words tonight, you too are processing sounds and extracting meaning, engaging the remarkable gift of language that connects all communicating beings. As night falls over penguin colonies, the cacophony of daytime gradually subsides into a quieter register. Penguins settle into rest, their calls becoming less frequent and softer in volume. The colony never falls completely silent, with occasional calls breaking the darkness as birds shift position or respond to disturbances. But the overall mood is one of peaceful settling, thousands of lives finding stillness together as the stars wheel overhead. Imagine joining that peaceful quieting now, your own internal chatter softening, your thoughts becoming gentler and more distant, like the fading calls of penguins welcoming the night. The Antarctic is the coldest, windiest, and driest continent on Earth, yet penguins have made it their home for millions of years. Their success in this extreme environment speaks to the remarkable power of adaptation, the ability of life to find ways to persist even in the most challenging conditions. Every aspect of penguin physiology has been refined by natural selection to conserve heat and resist the cold. From their dense feathers to their compact bodies, from their counter-current blood flow to their huddling behavior, penguins are masterpieces of cold weather engineering. As you rest warm and comfortable tonight, appreciate the cozy shelter that surrounds you. Penguin feathers are unlike the feathers of most other birds, being short, stiff, and densely packed across the entire body surface. While a typical songbird might have around 1,500 feathers, an emperor penguin has over 100 feathers per square inch, totaling well over 100,000 feathers covering its body. These feathers overlap like roof tiles, creating an impenetrable barrier against wind and water. Beneath this outer layer, a secondary coat of down traps warm air close to the skin, creating insulation so effective that penguins can sometimes overheat even in sub-zero temperatures. Such abundance of protection nature provides to those who need it. The compact body shape of penguins minimizes their surface area relative to their volume, reducing the amount of heat they lose to the environment. This principle, known to scientists as Bergmann's rule, explains why the largest penguin species live in the coldest climates, while smaller penguins inhabit more temperate regions. The spherical shape that penguins adopt when at rest, tucking their flippers close and drawing in their feet, further reduces heat loss. Every posture, every position is informed by the need to conserve the warmth that sustains life. In the mathematics of survival, penguins have found the most elegant solutions. Penguin feet are specially adapted to withstand extended contact with ice without suffering frostbite. The blood flowing to their feet is cooled by countercurrent heat exchange before reaching the extremities, keeping foot temperatures just above freezing regardless of environmental conditions. This means that penguin feet are cold to the touch, but alive and functional, perfectly calibrated to walk on ice without losing excessive body heat. The arteries and veins in their legs run close together, allowing heat to transfer from outgoing warm blood to returning cold blood. This ingenious biological plumbing keeps the core warm while sacrificing minimal energy to the cold ground. The huddling behavior of emperor penguins represents one of nature's most remarkable examples of cooperative thermoregulation. When winter storms rage across Antarctica, thousands of penguins press together, constantly rotating their positions so that no individual remains on the cold outer edge for too long. The interior of these huddles can reach temperatures of up to 100 degrees Fahrenheit, while outside, the wind chill may drop to minus 75 degrees or lower. This shared warmth allows penguins to survive conditions that would quickly prove fatal to an isolated individual. Together, they transform a hostile environment into a livable one, a lesson in the power of community. Scientists have observed that the movement within penguin huddles follows predictable wave-like patterns, with small shifts by individuals propagating outward through the group. Every 30 to 60 seconds, a wave of movement passes through the huddle as birds adjust their positions slightly. These waves help redistribute heat and ensure that birds on the edge gradually work their way toward the warmer center. The coordination required for this behavior appears to emerge spontaneously from simple rules followed by each individual, creating complex group patterns without any central control. Nature often finds order without requiring anyone to be in charge. Penguins maintain a layer of fat beneath their skin that provides both insulation and energy reserves. Before the breeding season, penguins feed intensively to build up this fat layer, sometimes doubling their body weight in preparation for the fasting periods ahead. This blubber acts as a thermal barrier, preventing body heat from escaping into the cold water or air. It also provides the calories needed to survive extended periods without food, whether during incubation, molting, or the long Antarctic winter. The body knows how to prepare for challenges, storing resources for times of need. Your own body is wise in similar ways, knowing what it needs and when. During molting season, penguins must replace all their feathers simultaneously, a process that leaves them vulnerable to cold for several weeks. To prepare, they build up extra fat reserves and then remain on land throughout the molt, unable to enter the water where their compromised insulation would lead to rapid heat loss. The metabolic demands of growing thousands of new feathers are enormous, and molting penguins can lose up to half their body weight during this period. Yet they endure this annual challenge with remarkable composure, standing patiently as their old feathers fall away and new ones emerge. Change is sometimes difficult, but necessary for renewed health. The black and white coloring of penguins serves purposes beyond simple camouflage. When penguins bask in the sun to warm themselves, their dark backs absorb heat efficiently from the solar radiation. The white underside reflects heat back toward the body from the warm ice surface, maximizing the warming effect. This dual coloring also helps regulate temperature during swimming, with the dark dorsal surface absorbing some heat when floating at the surface between dives. Even the color of a penguin has been shaped by the need to manage heat in extreme environments. Every detail serves a purpose in the careful economy of survival. Despite their remarkable cold adaptations, penguins can experience heat stress during warmer periods or when engaged in intense activity. To cool down, they extend their flippers away from their bodies, exposing the less insulated undersides where blood vessels run close to the surface. They may also pant like dogs, releasing heat through evaporation from their mouths and throats. In warmer habitats, penguins seek shade during the hottest parts of the day, demonstrating that even cold-adapted creatures value comfort and moderation. Balance is the key to well-being in all environments, finding the middle way between too much and too little of anything. The Snares penguin, found only on the Snares Islands south of New Zealand, is one of the rarest penguin species, with a total population of only about 25,000 breeding pairs. These medium-sized penguins have distinctive yellow crests and bright red eyes, giving them an alert and characterful appearance. The Snares Islands are protected from human disturbance, allowing the penguins to live largely undisturbed in their windswept island home. The very rarity of these birds makes them precious, a reminder of how much biodiversity exists in corners of the world most humans will never visit. Tonight, perhaps you might dream of such remote and pristine places. The Fiordland penguin, or tawaki, makes its home in the temperate rainforests of New Zealand's South Island, one of the only penguin species to nest among trees and ferns. These shy birds prefer the dense understory of ancient forests, where they dig burrows beneath roots or find shelter in natural crevices. Their yellow crest feathers droop elegantly downward, giving them a distinguished appearance, quite different from their upward-crested relatives. Encountering a Fiordland penguin in its forest home is a rare privilege, for these secretive birds avoid human contact when possible. There is something enchanting about the idea of penguins in forests, a surprising twist on our expectations. The royal penguin is closely related to the macaroni penguin, but can be distinguished by its white face, in contrast to the macaroni's black face. These beautiful birds breed almost exclusively on Macquarie Island, a small Australian territory halfway between Tasmania and Antarctica. During the breeding season, royal penguins gather in enormous colonies, their golden crests creating a spectacular display when seen from above. The isolation of their island home has allowed these penguins to evolve their unique characteristics, a demonstration of how geography shapes the diversity of life. Each island, each mountain, each valley becomes a laboratory for evolution's endless creativity. The erect crested penguin is distinguished by its striking yellow crest feathers that stand upright rather than lying flat or drooping. These relatively large penguins breed on the Bounty and Antipodes Islands, remote territories of New Zealand that receive few human visitors. Unfortunately, erect crested penguins are among the least studied of all penguin species, their remote habitat making research difficult. Much about their lives remains mysterious, from their winter movements to their feeding preferences. The existence of such unknowns is humbling, reminding us how much remains to be discovered, even about creatures as familiar as penguins. The Humboldt penguin inhabits the coastal areas of Peru and Chile, where the cold Humboldt Current provides rich feeding grounds despite the warm air temperatures. These medium-sized penguins are named after the Prussian naturalist Alexander von Humboldt, who first described the current that bears his name during his explorations of South America in the early 19th century. Humboldt penguins nest in burrows they dig into guano deposits or in caves along rocky coastlines. Their adaptability has allowed them to survive in conditions quite different from the frozen Antarctic most people associate with penguins. life finds its way in the most unexpected places. The white-flippered penguin of New Zealand is sometimes considered a subspecies of the little blue penguin, but many researchers treat it as a distinct species due to its unique characteristics. As the name suggests, these small penguins have white borders on their flippers, a feature not found in their blue relatives. They nest on Banks Peninsula near Christchurch and in scattered locations along the Canterbury coast, sometimes taking up residence in suburban areas where their nighttime calls can surprise unsuspecting residents. The willingness of these penguins to coexist with humans, finding nesting sites in modified landscapes, speaks to their remarkable adaptability. The southern rockhopper penguin inhabits islands scattered across the southern oceans, from the Falklands to the sub-Antarctic islands of New Zealand. These energetic birds are smaller than their northern rockhopper cousins and face different environmental challenges in their range. Like all rockhoppers, they navigate steep, rocky terrain with remarkable agility, bouncing from ledge to ledge with both feet together. Their bold red eyes and dramatic yellow and black crest feathers give them a fierce appearance that belies their relatively small size. Sometimes, the most spirited individuals come in the smallest packages, both in the penguin world and beyond. The northern rockhopper penguin, once considered the same species as its southern relative, was recognized as a separate species based on genetic and morphological differences. These penguins breed on islands in the subtropical and temperate zones of the southern Atlantic and Indian Oceans, including Tristan da Cunha, Guff Island, and Amsterdam Island. Their populations have declined significantly over recent decades, making conservation efforts increasingly important. The distinction between northern and southern species reminds us that what appears uniform at first glance often contains hidden diversity. Looking closer always reveals more complexity, more wonder, more reason for careful attention. Fossil evidence suggests that ancient penguins were much larger than any species alive today, with some species standing over 5 feet tall and weighing as much as a small adult human. These giant penguins lived millions of years ago, when different ecological conditions allowed for such massive body sizes. As the climate changed and marine ecosystems evolved, smaller penguin species proved more successful, leading to the diversity of moderately sized penguins we see today. The existence of these ancient giants reminds us that the natural world is constantly changing, that the animals we know today are merely the current chapter in a very long story. Across all 18 living species, penguins share certain fundamental characteristics while displaying remarkable diversity in their details. They are all flightless, all carnivorous, all colonial to varying degrees, and all dependent on the sea for their survival. Yet within this shared framework, each species has found its own unique path, its own adaptations to local conditions, its own solutions to the challenges of survival. This combination of unity and diversity is one of nature's most beautiful patterns, repeated across countless groups of organisms throughout the living world. We are now halfway through our journey together, and there is still so much peaceful discovery ahead. Like all living creatures, Penguins can be affected by various diseases and parasites, though their generally cold environments help protect them from many pathogens. Avian malaria, caused by parasites transmitted by mosquitoes, poses a significant threat to penguin species living in warmer climates, particularly as warming temperatures allow mosquitoes to expand their range. Fortunately, penguins have evolved robust immune systems that help them fight off many infections. The ongoing battle between hosts and pathogens has been part of life on Earth for billions of years, a dance of adaptation that has shaped the health of every species. Tonight, your own immune system watches over you as you rest. Tick infestations can be a problem for penguins, particularly for chicks and molting adults who are confined to land for extended periods. These parasites attach to exposed skin and feed on the warm crimson fluid that sustains all birds. Heavy tick loads can weaken individuals, making them more susceptible to other health challenges. However, the mutual preening behavior common in penguin pairs helps control parasite numbers, with partners removing ticks from hard-to-reach areas on each other's bodies. This caregiving behavior benefits both the individual and the partnership, strengthening bonds while promoting health. Caring for others and receiving care in return is a healing exchange. Respiratory infections can spread through penguin colonies, particularly during the crowded breeding season when birds are in close contact. These infections may cause coughing, nasal discharge, and general lethargy, similar to common colds in humans. Most penguins recover fully from such infections, their immune systems eventually clearing the pathogens without lasting harm. The colony structure that makes disease transmission more likely also provides benefits that outweigh the risks, from shared warmth to predator protection to mate finding. Life involves trade-offs, balancing various risks and rewards to find the optimal path forward. Rest is part of every creature's recovery process, including yours tonight. Scientists monitoring penguin health have observed that these birds can carry bacteria in their digestive systems that would cause illness in humans but seem to cause no problems for the penguins themselves. This is a common phenomenon in wildlife, where animals serve as healthy carriers for organisms that are pathogenic to other species. The penguin gut hosts a complex community of microorganisms that help digest food and maintain immune function, much like the beneficial bacteria that live within our own digestive systems. We are all ecosystems within ourselves, hosting countless tiny partners that help us thrive. Bumblefoot, a condition characterized by swelling and infection of the feet, can occur in penguins when they spend extended periods on hard or rough surfaces. This condition is more common in captive penguins than in wild populations, where the variety of natural substrates helps prevent chronic pressure on any single area. Treatment typically involves antibiotics and improved housing conditions, with most affected birds making full recoveries when the condition is caught early. The foot health of penguins reminds us of the importance of movement, variety, and appropriate surfaces for the well-being of all creatures who stand and walk. May your own feet carry you gently through dreams tonight. Penguin pox, caused by a virus related to chickenpox in poultry, can produce raised lesions on the feet, flippers, and faces of affected birds. While these lesions may look alarming, most penguins recover completely once their immune systems mount an effective response. The virus spreads through direct contact and possibly through biting insects, making it more common during warmer periods when insect vectors are active. The temporary nature of these infections, followed by lasting immunity, demonstrates the remarkable capacity of immune systems to learn from challenges and emerge stronger. Our own bodies possess similar wisdom, growing more resilient through the experiences that test us. Aspergillosis is a fungal infection that can affect the respiratory systems of penguins, particularly those in captivity, where stress or suboptimal conditions may weaken their immune defenses. The fungus that causes this disease is present throughout the environment, but healthy penguins typically resist infection without difficulty. When it does take hold, aspergillosis can be serious, requiring veterinary intervention to treat. The importance of strong immune function in resisting ever-present environmental pathogens applies to all species, including humans. Good nutrition, adequate rest, and low stress all contribute to immune health, making tonight's peaceful rest a gift to your own defenses. Internal parasites, including roundworms and tapeworms, can inhabit the digestive tracts of penguins, particularly those who feed on infected fish and squid. In moderate numbers, these parasites may cause little apparent harm, coexisting with their hosts in a balance that has developed over millions of years of evolution. Heavy parasite loads, however, can affect nutrient absorption and overall health. Wild penguins often show remarkable tolerance for parasites that would concern veterinarians treating captive birds. There is a natural rhythm to host-parasite relationships, a constant negotiation between competing needs that somehow finds equilibrium over time. Conservation veterinarians sometimes intervene when individual penguins or populations face serious health threats, providing treatments that wild birds could not access on their own. These interventions might include vaccinations, antibiotic treatments, or the removal of ingested fishing gear. Such efforts represent a form of healing partnership between humans and wildlife, an acknowledgement that our actions sometimes contribute to the challenges wild animals face. The existence of people who dedicate their lives to helping sick and injured wildlife is one of the more hopeful aspects of human nature, a demonstration that compassion can extend across species boundaries. The overall health of penguin populations often serves as an indicator of ocean ecosystem health, since penguins depend on abundant fish and krill stocks to survive and reproduce successfully. When penguin populations decline, it frequently signals problems with the marine food web that affects many other species as well. By monitoring penguin health and numbers, scientists can detect changes in ocean conditions that might otherwise go unnoticed. In this way, penguins serve as ambassadors for the entire marine ecosystem, their well-being reflecting the health of the seas they depend upon. We are all connected, land and sea, human and penguin, in the great web of life. Penguins have developed a remarkable solution to the problem of nest sanitation in their densely packed colonies. Rather than simply releasing waste near their nests, Penguins can generate considerable pressure to project their droppings up to 4 feet away from their bodies. This behavior keeps the immediate nest area relatively clean while also marking territorial boundaries with distinctive streaks visible from above. Scientists have actually studied the physics of this process, calculating the pressures involved and the factors that affect projection distance. It is a reminder that even the most humble biological functions can reveal fascinating adaptations when examined closely. The diving behavior of penguins includes an unusual phenomenon known as the aerobic dive limit, beyond which penguins must rely on anaerobic metabolism to sustain activity. Most penguin dives stay well within the aerobic limit, allowing them to recover quickly at the surface before the next dive. However, when pursuing particularly desirable prey or escaping predators, penguins can exceed this limit, building up lactic acid in their muscles just as human athletes do during intense exercise. The recovery period after such extreme dives is longer, but the flexibility to push beyond normal limits when necessary provides an important survival advantage. Tobogganing is a behavior unique to penguins, where they lie on their bellies and propel themselves across ice and snow using their flippers and feet. This method of travel is often faster and more energy efficient than walking, particularly on smooth ice or downhill slopes. Watching a penguin transition from awkward waddle to streamlined toboggan is witnessing a complete transformation in movement style. The joy penguins seem to take in tobogganing suggests it may serve purposes beyond mere efficiency, perhaps providing a form of play or simple pleasure. Even in the harshest environments, creatures find ways to move with grace and perhaps even enjoyment. Penguins sometimes engage in allopreening, grooming birds other than their mates, which may serve social functions beyond simple feather maintenance. This behavior is particularly common between parents and their chicks, strengthening bonds during the critical period when chicks are learning to recognize their parents. Allopreening may also occur between neighbors in dense colonies, perhaps helping to reduce tensions and maintain peaceful coexistence. The gentle act of grooming another creature carries a message of trust and goodwill that transcends species boundaries. When have you experienced the calming effect of caring touch, whether given or received? Some penguin species have been observed using tools in simple ways, such as using rocks to scratch hard-to-reach areas of their bodies. While tool use is rare in birds compared to mammals, these observations suggest that penguins possess the cognitive flexibility to solve problems in creative ways. The underwater acrobatics required to catch fast-moving fish also demonstrate sophisticated spatial reasoning and motor control. Penguins may be more intelligent than their simple appearance suggests. Their brains adapted to the complex challenges of life in two very different environments. Never underestimate the wisdom that can exist in a seemingly simple creature. The head movements penguins make when observing their surroundings serve an important function related to their vision. Because penguin eyes are positioned on the sides of their heads, they have limited binocular vision and must move their heads to accurately judge distances. The characteristic head tilting and bobbing you see penguins doing is actually a form of active sensing, gathering visual information by changing their viewing angle. This behavior is especially pronounced when penguins are examining something novel or potentially dangerous. Their curious head movements remind us that different creatures perceive the world in different ways, each perspective offering unique insights. When entering the water from ice or rocks, penguins often hesitate at the edge, apparently scanning for predators before taking the plunge. This caution is well-founded, as leopard seals and orcas sometimes wait in ambush near penguin entry points. Once one brave penguin dives in, others quickly follow, perhaps reasoning that safety lies in numbers, or simply trusting the judgment of the first individual. This mass entry behavior creates waves of penguins diving in rapid succession, a spectacle of coordinated movement triggered by a single leader. Sometimes, all it takes is one individual willing to go first, and others find the courage to follow. Penguins sometimes pick up small objects like pebbles, shells, or bits of debris and carry them around for no apparent practical purpose. This behavior, which appears similar to play in other animals, suggests that penguins may simply enjoy manipulating objects. Young penguins are particularly prone to such activities, perhaps developing motor skills and environmental awareness through play. The image of a penguin carefully examining and rearranging a small stone speaks to something universal about the joy of interaction with the physical world. Play is not frivolous but fundamental, a way of learning and finding pleasure that connects all sentient beings. During courtship, male penguins of several species bow repeatedly to potential mates, a behavior that may seem comical to human observers, but serves important communication functions. These bowing displays show off physical condition, demonstrate commitment, and help synchronize the reproductive timing of potential partners. The more vigorous and sustained the display, the more attractive the male may appear to watching females. This ritualized behavior replaces the physical combat seen in some other species, allowing competition to occur without injury. There is wisdom in such rituals, channeling competitive impulses into harmless displays that benefit everyone involved. Penguin chicks sometimes chase their parents around the colony, begging for food with persistent calls and pecking. This chase behavior ensures that only the fittest and most determined chicks receive the maximum nutrition, as weaker individuals may not be able to keep up with a retreating parent. While this might seem harsh, it helps parents allocate limited resources to the offspring most likely to survive. The pursuit also burns calories that the chicks must then replace, creating a balance between effort and reward. Nature's systems often appear harsh at first glance, but reveal underlying wisdom upon deeper reflection. Conservation efforts for penguins have increased significantly over recent decades as scientists have documented declines in many populations. Marine protected areas, fishing regulations, and habitat restoration projects all contribute to penguin conservation, though the challenges remain substantial. Climate change poses perhaps the greatest long-term threat, altering the availability of food and nesting habitat in ways that may be difficult to mitigate. Yet there is reason for hope in the growing awareness of these challenges and the dedication of researchers, conservationists, and ordinary people who care about the future of these remarkable birds. Every small action in support of the natural world contributes to a larger movement of care. The establishment of marine protected areas in penguin feeding grounds helps ensure that these birds have access to the fish and krill they need to survive. When fishing is restricted or prohibited in key areas, penguin populations often respond with improved breeding success and faster population recovery. These protected areas benefit not only penguins, but the entire marine ecosystem, creating refuges where natural processes can unfold without intense human pressure. The concept of setting aside areas for nature, allowing life to flourish without interference, represents one of humanity's more enlightened responses to our impact on the planet. Has stabilized in some areas thanks to artificial nesting boxes that provide protection from predators and overheating. On Phillip Island in Australia, little blue penguins now benefit from predator control programs and protected nesting habitat that have helped their numbers recover. These successes demonstrate that when humans apply focused effort to conservation, positive outcomes are possible. The resilience of nature, supported by human care, gives reason for cautious optimism about the future of even struggling species. Oil spills pose a severe threat to penguins as their waterproof feathers lose their insulating properties when coated with petroleum. Birds affected by oil quickly become hypothermic and may also ingest toxic substances while attempting to preen their feathers clean. When major spills occur near penguin colonies, rescue organizations mobilize to capture affected birds, wash them, and provide supportive care until their feathers recover their natural waterproofing. The sight of dedicated volunteers washing oil from struggling penguins reveals the best of human nature, our capacity for compassion extending to creatures who cannot ask for help. Such kindness ripples outward in ways we may never fully see. Climate change affects penguins in multiple ways, from reducing the availability of sea ice for Antarctic species to altering ocean currents that determine where fish and krill can be found. Some penguin populations are shifting their ranges in response to changing conditions, moving toward the poles to follow their preferred temperature zones. Others are adapting their breeding timing to match new patterns of food availability. The flexibility of penguin behavior may help some populations cope with changing conditions, though the pace of current changes may exceed the ability of some species to adapt. The future remains uncertain, but nature has surprised us with its resilience before. Plastic pollution has become an increasing concern for marine species worldwide, including penguins. Birds may mistake small pieces of plastic for food items, ingesting debris that can cause digestive blockages or toxic buildup. Fishing nets and lines also pose entanglement risks, trapping penguins and other marine life in ways that can lead to drowning or starvation. Efforts to reduce plastic pollution and clean up existing debris in the oceans benefit countless species, including the penguins we have come to know through this peaceful journey. Each piece of plastic we prevent from reaching the ocean is a small gift to all marine life. Citizen science programs allow ordinary people to contribute to penguin conservation by counting birds and photographs, monitoring local penguin populations, or participating in beach cleanups. These programs engage millions of people worldwide in the work of understanding and protecting wildlife, creating connections between humans and nature that can transform attitudes and behaviors. The simple act of paying attention to penguins, learning about their lives, and caring about their future is itself a form of conservation. Your presence here tonight, spending time with these remarkable birds, adds another voice to the chorus of those who value and protect the natural world. Penguin watching has become a significant form of ecotourism in many parts of the Southern Hemisphere, bringing economic benefits to local communities while also raising awareness about these remarkable birds. When conducted responsibly, ecotourism can create incentives for conservation, demonstrating that living wildlife has value that exceeds what could be gained from exploitation. Tourism operations that fund research and conservation create a positive feedback loop where the desire to see penguins leads directly to protection of penguin populations. The joy we find in encountering wild creatures can thus contribute to their survival, transforming admiration into action. Educational programs that teach children about penguins help create the next generation of conservation supporters. Young people who learn about these fascinating birds often develop lasting connections that influence their values and choices throughout life. Schools and aquariums around the world use penguins as ambassadors for ocean conservation, helping students understand the interconnected web of life that depends on healthy marine ecosystems. The stories of penguins, from their remarkable adaptations to their touching family bonds, inspire empathy and wonder that can motivate lifelong environmental stewardship. Teaching children to love nature may be the most important conservation work of all. International agreements protecting Antarctica and regulating fishing in southern oceans provide a framework for penguin conservation at the largest scales. The Antarctic Treaty System, now over 60 years old, designates the continent as a scientific preserve and prohibits military activity, mineral mining, and other potentially destructive uses. The Commission for the Conservation of Antarctic Marine Living Resources works to ensure sustainable fishing practices that protect the food supplies penguins depend upon. These agreements represent humanity's capacity for cooperation when we recognize shared interests in protecting irreplaceable natural treasures. The frozen continent and its inhabitants are held in trust for future generations. The environments penguins call home range from tropical islands to frozen wastelands, yet each habitat shares certain key features that make penguin life possible. Access to productive ocean waters is essential, as all penguins depend on marine food sources. Relatively predator-free nesting areas allow safe reproduction, while suitable temperatures and terrain support the various behaviors penguins engage in on land. Within these broad requirements, penguins have found ways to thrive in surprisingly diverse settings. The adaptability of the penguin family reminds us that life can flourish in many forms and many places when basic needs are met. The Antarctic Peninsula, that long finger of land reaching toward South America, provides crucial habitat for several penguin species. Adélie, chinstrap, and gentoo penguins all breed along its rocky shores, taking advantage of the relatively milder conditions compared to the continental interior. The peninsula's glaciers calve icebergs into surrounding waters, creating a dramatic landscape of frozen sculptures and open channels. Climate change is affecting this region faster than most places on Earth, with temperatures rising and ice shelves retreating at unprecedented rates. Yet life continues to find ways forward, adapting to changes that unfold faster than any in living memory. South Georgia Island, a crescent-shaped territory in the South Atlantic, hosts some of the largest penguin colonies on Earth. Over 1 million king penguins breed on this mountainous island, their golden-breasted bodies creating patterns visible from space. The island also supports significant populations of macaroni and gentoo penguins, along with millions of seabirds and countless seals. The wildlife abundance of South Georgia is almost overwhelming to witness, a reminder of what healthy ecosystems can support when given the chance to flourish. Such places of natural wealth are treasures beyond price, sanctuaries where life celebrates itself in glorious abundance. The Falkland Islands, known locally as Las Islas Malvinas, provide habitat for 5 penguin species despite being home to only a few thousand human residents. Rockhopper, macaroni, Magellanic, gentoo, and king penguins all breed on these windswept islands, taking advantage of the rich waters where cold and warm currents meet. The human inhabitants of the Falklands have developed a strong ethic of wildlife protection, recognizing that the island's natural heritage is one of their greatest assets. Visitors to the Falklands often describe transformative encounters with wildlife that moves freely and without fear, a glimpse of a world where humans and nature coexist peacefully. The Galapagos Islands, famous for their role in inspiring Darwin's theory of evolution, also host the only penguin species to live naturally north of the equator. Galapagos penguins have adapted to equatorial conditions through behaviors like panting, seeking shade, and nesting in lava caves that provide protection from the tropical sun. The cold Cromwell Current that wells up along the island's western shores brings nutrients that support abundant marine life, including the small fish these penguins depend upon. The Galapagos demonstrate how evolution can lead to unexpected outcomes when populations become isolated and face novel challenges. New Zealand and its surrounding islands are a global hotspot for penguin diversity, with more species breeding in this region than anywhere else on Earth. The temperate climate and productive surrounding waters create ideal conditions for penguins that prefer neither tropical warmth nor Antarctic cold. Yellow-eyed penguins nest in coastal forests, little blue penguins burrow into sandy banks, and fjordland penguins hide in the rainforests of the South Island's Wild West coast. Each species has found its notch in this island nation, demonstrating how evolution can pack multiple related species into a single geographic area through careful partitioning of resources. The coastal waters of southern Africa, influenced by the cold Bengala Current, support populations of African penguins along the shores of South Africa and Namibia. These resilient birds breed in burrows. They dig into guano deposits or in natural crevices among coastal rocks. Urban development has brought humans and penguins into close contact at places like Boulder's Beach near Cape Town, where tourists can observe wild penguins at remarkably close range. The willingness of these penguins to tolerate human presence speaks to their adaptability, though it also raises questions about how wild behavior changes when creatures become accustomed to our company. The sub-Antarctic islands scattered across the southern oceans represent some of the most remote places on Earth, yet penguins have found these isolated specks of land and made them home. Islands like Heard, Marion, Kerguelen, and Macquarie host significant penguin populations far from any human settlement. The isolation of these islands has protected their wildlife from many of the pressures faced by penguins elsewhere, creating refuges where natural processes continue relatively undisturbed. There is something reassuring about knowing such remote places exist, islands of wilderness where life follows its own rhythms without human interference. The ocean itself is perhaps the most important penguin habitat, the place where penguins spend the majority of their lives outside of the breeding season. The waters of the Southern Ocean, circling endlessly around Antarctica, support some of the richest marine ecosystems on Earth. Cold temperatures, upwelling nutrients, and long summer days create ideal conditions for the growth of phytoplankton, which supports the krill swarms that feed penguins and countless other species. The productive pulse of life in these waters is driven by the same physical forces that have operated for millions of years, ancient rhythms that continue to sustain modern life. Across all these varied environments, penguins have found their places, each species adapted to its particular corner of the world. From equatorial islands to the frozen heart of Antarctica, from rocky cliffs to sandy beaches to dense forests, penguins demonstrate the remarkable capacity of life to flourish in diverse conditions. Their success across such different habitats suggests an underlying flexibility that bodes well for their future, an ability to adjust and persist even as conditions change. May we find similar adaptability in our own lives, the wisdom to flourish wherever circumstances place us, finding comfort and purpose in each new situation we encounter. The physical form of a penguin is a masterpiece of evolutionary engineering, every feature refined over millions of years for life between two worlds. Their streamlined bodies, shaped like torpedoes, minimize drag as they move through water at speeds that would challenge many fish. The transition from flying birds to swimming specialists involved profound changes to skeletal structure, musculature, and metabolism. What we see today is the result of countless generations of natural selection, each small improvement preserved and passed forward until the modern penguin emerged. Your own body carries similar evolutionary wisdom, systems refined over billions of years for the business of living. Penguin bones are solid and dense, unlike the hollow bones of flying birds that must minimize weight for flight. This increased density acts as ballast, helping penguins achieve neutral buoyancy at depth and making extended diving possible. The weight that would ground a flying bird becomes an advantage underwater, allowing penguins to descend without constantly fighting against their own tendency to float. Evolution has essentially reinvented the skeleton for a completely different purpose, demonstrating how the same basic structures can be modified for radically different functions. The bones that once lifted ancestors into the sky now carry their descendants into the depths of the sea. The flippers of penguins are modified wings containing the same basic bone structure as the wings of flying birds, but flattened and shortened for propulsion through water. The wrist and finger bones are fused into a rigid structure that provides power and stability during swimming strokes. Muscles in the chest and shoulder control these flippers with remarkable precision, allowing penguins to execute sharp turns and sudden accelerations while hunting prey. The transformation of wings into flippers represents one of evolution's most dramatic repurposing projects, taking a tool designed for one medium and adapting it perfectly for another. Penguin eyes are adapted for vision both in air and underwater, a challenging feat given the different optical properties of these two media. The cornea is flatter than in most birds, which reduces its focusing power but allows clearer vision in water where light bends differently. In dim underwater conditions, penguin retinas are rich in rod cells that detect light even at low intensities, while cone cells allow color vision in the brighter environments of the surface. These remarkable eyes can spot predators and prey alike, serving the penguin equally well, whether basking on ice or hunting in the depths. The bill of a penguin varies considerably between species, reflecting different feeding strategies and prey preferences. Fish-eating species tend to have longer, more slender bills with sharp edges for gripping slippery prey, while krill specialists often have shorter, broader bills suited to filtering small organisms from the water. The upper and lower mandibles are lined with backward-facing spines that help direct food toward the throat, preventing escape once prey is captured. Bill color also varies, from the bright orange of king penguins to the striped patterns of chin straps and the blue-gray of little blue penguins. Each bill is a tool precisely shaped for its owner's lifestyle. The black and white coloring of penguins, known as countershading, provides camouflage in the open ocean. When viewed from above, the dark back blends with the dark depths below, while from below, the white belly matches the bright surface lit by the sun. This simple but effective pattern makes penguins harder to spot for both predators looking down from above and those looking up from below. Many marine animals employ this same strategy, a convergent solution to the problem of concealment in open water. The tuxedo appearance that we find so charming is actually serious survival equipment, elegant protection against the dangers of the deep. The feet of penguins are positioned far back on their bodies, an arrangement that provides excellent propulsion while swimming, but creates the characteristic upright posture and waddling gait we find so endearing on land. The three forward-facing toes are connected by webbing that provides additional thrust while swimming, while the small back-facing toe helps with balance and grip on rocky surfaces. Strong leg muscles allow penguins to leap considerable heights when exiting the water onto ice shelves or rocky shores. What seems awkward on land is actually a compromise that optimizes performance in the environment where penguins spend most of their active time, the sea. The crest feathers found on several penguin species serve purposes beyond simple decoration. These elongated feathers may help with species recognition, allowing penguins to identify their own kind at a distance in mixed colonies. They may also play roles in courtship displays, with more elaborate crests signaling better genetic quality or physical condition. The variation in crest styles, from the spiky rockhoppers to the elegant drooping plumes of Fiordland penguins, demonstrates how evolution can create diversity even within a single anatomical feature. Beauty in nature often has practical roots, aesthetic pleasure emerging from functional refinement. Penguin hearts are proportionally larger and more efficient than those of many other birds, capable of sustaining intense activity during deep dives and powerful swimming. During dives, the heart rate can slow dramatically to conserve oxygen, a reflex that penguins share with other diving animals, including seals and whales. This bradycardia, as scientists call it, is part of a suite of adaptations known as the diving response, which redirects resources to essential organs while peripheral systems are temporarily deprioritized. The penguin heart knows how to be efficient when it matters most, conserving its strength for the moments when full power is needed. The tail of a penguin, while short and often overlooked, serves important functions during swimming. Acting as a rudder, the tail helps steer during underwater maneuvers, complementing the action of the flippers. Some species use their tails as props while standing on land, leaning back slightly into a tripod position that requires less muscular effort to maintain. The stiff tail feathers are also used by some species during nest building, pushing pebbles and other materials into place. Every part of the penguin body has multiple uses, nothing wasted in a design honed by millions of years of evolution. As you rest tonight, appreciate your own remarkable body and all it does for you. The life cycle of a penguin unfolds in rhythms as ancient as the tides, each stage flowing naturally into the next, like the seasons themselves. From the moment a chick breaks through its shell, it embarks on a journey that will take it from helpless hatchling to accomplished ocean hunter to devoted parent, and eventually back again as part of the Great Circle. Understanding these life stages helps us appreciate the penguin not just as a single moment in time, but as a process, a flowing river of experience that connects generations across millions of years. Tonight, as you rest, consider your own place in the great cycle of life. Penguin eggs vary in size according to species, from the modest eggs of little blue penguins weighing just a few ounces to the substantial eggs of emperor penguins that can weigh nearly a pound. The shells are typically white or greenish white, their plain coloring a stark contrast to the elaborately patterned eggs of many other birds. This simplicity reflects the fact that penguin eggs are rarely left unattended, so camouflage is less important than for species that leave their nests. The egg represents potential, a promise of future life contained within a fragile shell. Something profound exists in that quiet waiting, the patient expectation of what will soon emerge. The incubation period for penguin eggs ranges from about 32 days for smaller species to around 65 days for emperor penguins, the longest of any penguin. During this time, the developing embryo draws nutrients from the yolk, slowly transforming from a tiny cluster of cells into a recognizable bird with feathers, beak, and flippers. Temperature regulation is critical during this period, with parents carefully maintaining the warmth needed for proper development. The patience required for incubation is remarkable: weeks of dedicated attendance, during which the sitting parent often cannot eat. Such devotion to the next generation speaks to something deep in the nature of life itself. Hatching is a process that can take several days as the chick works to break free from its shell. Using a specialized egg tooth on its beak, the chick chips away at the shell from inside, creating a ring of cracks called a pip. The effort required is considerable, and parents often call encouragingly to their struggling offspring during this critical time. When the chick finally emerges, wet and exhausted, it represents the successful completion of a journey begun when its parents first formed their pair bond. The parent's first act is often to feed the hungry hatchling, beginning the nurturing that will continue for months to come. Newly hatched penguin chicks are covered in soft down feathers that provide insulation but are not waterproof. These fluffy coats give chicks their characteristically rounded, almost spherical appearance during their early weeks. The down is typically gray or brown in most species, offering some camouflage against the rocks and soil of nesting areas. Chicks depend entirely on their parents for warmth and food during this vulnerable period, tucking themselves beneath adult bodies or into brood pouches whenever possible. The softness of a penguin chick represents the tenderness of new life, deserving of protection and gentle care. As penguin chicks grow, they pass through several molts, gradually replacing their down with the waterproof feathers they will need for ocean life. This transition can give juvenile penguins a patchy, disheveled appearance as new feathers push out the old. The timing of this molt is critical, as chicks must achieve waterproof plumage before they can safely enter the sea to feed themselves. Parents continue to feed their growing offspring throughout this period, though the frequency of meals typically decreases as the chick approaches independence. Growth brings change, and change brings new capabilities. Each stage prepares the young penguin for what comes next. The creche stage, when chicks gather in groups while parents forage at sea, represents an important transition in penguin development. In these huddles, chicks provide each other with warmth and protection from predators, reducing their dependence on individual parental oversight. Adults returning from fishing trips can locate their own chicks within the creche through vocal recognition, the unique calls learned during early bonding serving as acoustic fingerprints. The creche is a penguin kindergarten of sorts, a community where young birds learn social skills while their parents work to provide the food needed for continued growth. There is wisdom in shared care, burdens lightened by cooperation. Fledging, when young penguins finally enter the ocean for the first time, marks the beginning of their independent lives. This momentous event typically occurs when juveniles have achieved near adult size and their waterproof feathers are fully developed. Some species simply walk into the water and swim away, while others may hesitate at the shore for hours or days before taking the plunge. The first swim is a test of all the physical preparations that came before, the moment when inherited adaptations meet the real challenges of ocean life. Every journey begins with the first step, or in the penguin's case, a first dive. Young penguins spend their first few years at sea, gradually learning the hunting skills and ocean navigation abilities they will need for survival. During this period, they may travel vast distances, sometimes thousands of miles from their birthplace, following ocean currents and fish stocks wherever they lead. Survival rates during these early years are lower than for adults, as inexperience leads to encounters with predators, disease, and starvation that more seasoned penguins might avoid. Those who survive this testing period emerge as competent ocean hunters, ready to return to breeding colonies and begin the cycle anew. The challenges of youth forge the strengths of adulthood. Sexual maturity arrives at different ages for different penguin species, ranging from about 2 years for smaller species to 6 or 7 years for the largest penguins. When they reach breeding age, young adults return to colonies, often the same ones where they were born, drawn by instincts refined over countless generations. Their first breeding attempts may not be successful, as the skills of courtship, nest building, and chick rearing must be learned through experience. With each passing year, breeding success typically improves as penguins become more experienced parents. The circle completes itself as former chicks become parents themselves, passing the torch of life to new generations. What wisdom about cycles of renewal might we carry into our own dreams tonight? The relationships penguins form with one another reveal unexpected depths of connection and loyalty. Pair bonds in many penguin species can last for years, sometimes for the entire breeding life of both individuals. Partners recognize each other's voices even after months of separation at sea, reuniting with calls of apparent joy when they meet again at the breeding colony. These long-term partnerships improve breeding success as experienced pairs coordinate their efforts more efficiently than newly formed couples. The penguin teaches us that commitment to another, maintained through difficulty and distance, can be a source of strength and stability. Not all penguin pairs remain together forever, and divorce does occur when breeding fails repeatedly or when environmental pressures force changes. Such separations are not personal failures, but adaptive responses to circumstances, allowing both individuals the chance to find more compatible partners. Some species show higher divorce rates than others, suggesting that pair bond strength is itself an evolved trait that varies according to ecological conditions. The flexibility to maintain or dissolve partnerships as circumstances require demonstrates the pragmatic wisdom of nature, which balances fidelity with adaptability. Sometimes, moving forward means accepting that certain paths have reached their natural ends. The bonds between penguin parents and their offspring are intense during the breeding season, marked by constant contact, feeding, and protection. Parents can distinguish their own chicks from hundreds of others in a crowded colony, responding only to the calls of their genetic offspring. This selectivity ensures that parental investment goes to one's own young rather than unrelated individuals, maximizing the reproductive success that drives evolution. Yet the intensity of penguin parental care also speaks to something universal about the bond between generations, the fierce protectiveness that caring for the young awakens in so many species. To love the vulnerable is perhaps the most powerful love of all. If you are finding peace in this gentle journey through the world of penguins, we would be so grateful if you would consider subscribing to our channel and leaving a like on this video. Your support helps us create more soothing content like this, bringing the calming wonders of nature to others who seek rest. There is no pressure, of course, just a soft invitation to join our community of peaceful dreamers. Now let us continue our quiet exploration of penguin relationships as you settle ever deeper into relaxation. Sibling relationships in penguin species that raise two chicks can be complex, involving both competition and cooperation. Chicks compete for parental attention and food, with larger or more aggressive individuals sometimes gaining advantages that affect survival. Yet siblings also provide each other with warmth and companionship during the periods when parents are away foraging. The balance between competition and cooperation that characterizes sibling relationships in many species is played out in miniature in penguin nests around the world. Learning to navigate relationships with those closest to us, balancing our needs with theirs, is a skill that benefits all social creatures. Penguins form relationships not only with mates and offspring, but with neighbors in their densely packed colonies. Regular neighbors may develop familiar recognition over multiple breeding seasons, reducing conflicts and allowing for more efficient use of limited space. Some research suggests that penguins prefer to nest near birds they have nested near before, creating neighborhoods of familiar individuals within the larger colony. These extended social networks provide benefits beyond immediate family, creating communities where cooperation and mutual tolerance allow more birds to breed successfully. We are all embedded in webs of relationship that extend beyond our immediate awareness. The sounds of a penguin colony create a symphony of relationship, calls that maintain bonds across the chaos of crowded breeding grounds. Each penguin's voice is as unique as a human fingerprint, individual characteristics that allow recognition even among tens of thousands of similar-looking birds. Partners call to each other during nest relief. Parents call to locate chicks in the creche, and rivals call in territorial disputes. This acoustic tapestry weaves the colony together, invisible threads of sound connecting individuals in a network of relationship. Close your eyes and imagine the gentle hum of penguin voices, each one meaningful to someone, together creating community. Same-sex penguin pairs have been documented in many species, both in wild populations and in zoos around the world. These pairs engage in the same courtship behaviors, nest building, and bonding rituals as opposite-sex pairs, demonstrating that the drive to form partnerships transcends reproductive function alone. In some cases, same-sex pairs have successfully raised chicks when provided with eggs from other birds, proving themselves capable parents. The diversity of penguin relationships reflects the broader diversity of nature, where variation is not an aberration, but a fundamental characteristic of life. There are many ways to form family, and each has value. The loss of a partner affects penguins in ways that seem to parallel grief in humans, with bereaved birds sometimes returning to old nest sites and calling for missing mates. Whether penguins experience emotional states comparable to human grief remains scientifically uncertain, but their behaviors suggest that the bonds they form are not trivial, that loss carries real costs beyond simply the need to find a new partner. Observers have reported widowed penguins standing alone at the edges of colonies, calling into the wind. There is something poignant in these scenes, reminders that connection and loss are woven into the fabric of life for many creatures, not humans alone. As we consider the rich tapestry of penguin relationships, we are reminded that belonging is a fundamental need shared across species. Penguins belong to their partners, to their offspring, to their colonies, and to the larger ecosystems that sustain them. These connections provide meaning and purpose, anchoring individual lives within larger patterns of community and continuity. Tonight, as you rest, consider your own web of belonging, the relationships that give your life meaning, and the communities that hold you. You are connected to more than you know, part of something larger than any single moment. In that belonging, find peace. Despite decades of research, penguins still hold mysteries that science has yet to fully unravel. How do penguins navigate across thousands of miles of featureless ocean to return to their exact birthplace? What internal maps and compasses guide them through waters that offer few visible landmarks? Scientists suspect that penguins use a combination of the Earth's magnetic field, the position of the sun, and perhaps even the stars to orient themselves during their oceanic journeys. Yet the precise mechanisms remain partially hidden, reminding us that nature always keeps some secrets. The mystery that remains in the world is part of its beauty. The sleep patterns of penguins present a fascinating area of ongoing research. Like many animals that face constant predation risk, penguins appear capable of unhemispheric sleep, resting one half of the brain while the other remains alert. This adaptation allows them to catch necessary rest while maintaining awareness of potential dangers. Studies using brain activity monitors have shown that sleeping penguins sometimes keep one eye open, literally watching for threats, while part of their brain enters deeper sleep. The ability to rest while remaining partially vigilant speaks to the constant negotiations between rest and safety that shape animal behavior. Tonight, you can rest fully, trusting that you are safe. Some penguin species undertake migrations that rival those of the great ocean travelers, journeys of thousands of miles that take them far from their breeding grounds. Magellanic penguins from Argentina have been tracked traveling as far as Brazil and back, covering distances that would challenge any ocean vessel. During these journeys, penguins face storms, predators, and the constant challenge of finding food in waters that vary in productivity from day to day. The endurance required for such journeys is extraordinary, sustained by the efficient bodies evolution has crafted over millions of years. There is inspiration in such persistence, the quiet determination to keep going regardless of difficulty. The phenomenon of ecstatic displays in some penguin species remains partially mysterious, involving dramatic stretching of the neck, calling, and flipper movements that seem to express intense emotion. These displays occur in various contexts, from nest claiming to pair bonding to what appears to be simple exuberance. Whether penguins experience something analogous to joy or excitement during these displays, or whether the behaviors serve purely communicative functions, remains a matter of scientific debate. The line between emotional experience and mechanical behavior is difficult to draw in any species, including our own. Perhaps the important thing is that such moments of apparent joy exist at all. Penguins possess specialized glands near their eyes that filter salt from their bloodstream, allowing them to drink seawater without harmful effects. These supraorbital glands concentrate salt and excrete it through the nostrils, dripping brine down the bill in a behavior that might be mistaken for crying. This adaptation frees penguins from dependence on freshwater sources, essential for animals that spend months at sea far from any land. The elegant solution to the problem of marine hydration demonstrates evolution's capacity to solve challenges through unexpected means. When faced with salty circumstances, the penguin simply processes what is available and releases what it does not need. The coloring of penguin chicks has puzzled researchers, since the gray or brown down of most species provides only modest camouflage in nesting environments. Some scientists suggest that chick coloring may actually serve thermal functions, with darker colors absorbing more heat from the sun during cold periods. Others propose that the uniform coloring of chicks helps parents distinguish between adults and young, reducing the risk of misidentifying one's own offspring. The true explanation may involve multiple factors working together, as is often the case in biology. Nature's solutions are rarely simple, weaving together threads of function that we are only beginning to understand. Why do some penguin species form colonies of hundreds of thousands, while others nest in small, scattered groups? The answer lies in a complex interplay of predation pressure, food availability, and habitat structure that varies from species to species and location to location. Large colonies may provide protection through sheer numbers, overwhelming predators with more potential prey than they can consume. Smaller groups may reduce disease transmission and competition for nearby food resources. Each strategy has costs and benefits, and the pattern we observe today represents millions of years of natural experiments in social organization. Life finds many paths to the same destination of survival. The coordination of penguin breeding seasons with food availability remains an area of active research. Penguins must time their reproduction so that chicks reach independence when ocean conditions are most favorable for young hunters. This timing varies by species and location, with some penguins breeding in winter when it might seem most difficult, but when their particular prey species are actually most abundant. How penguins sense and respond to changing ocean conditions to optimize their breeding timing involves mechanisms that scientists are still working to understand. The wisdom encoded in these timing systems has developed over millions of years of trial and refinement. What dreams might fill the sleeping mind of a penguin nestled in its colony as Antarctic winds sing across the ice? Whether penguins dream in any sense comparable to human dreaming remains unknown, though the presence of REM-like sleep states in birds suggests that some form of dream experience may occur. Perhaps sleeping penguins relive the sensations of diving through crystal waters, or hear again the calls of their partners echoing across crowded beaches. The inner life of another creature must always remain somewhat mysterious, a window we can peer through but never fully enter. Tonight, as you drift toward your own dreams, spare a thought for all the dreamers of the world. As we approach the final portion of our journey together, let us hold on to the sense of wonder that penguins inspire. These remarkable birds have answered some of evolution's most challenging questions with elegant solutions that continue to surprise and delight researchers. Yet mystery remains, questions that will keep scientists studying penguins for generations to come. Perhaps that is as it should be, for a world without mystery would be a diminished place indeed. Rest now in the comfort of knowing that wonder exists, that questions remain to be asked, and that nature still holds secrets waiting to be discovered. Your peaceful rest tonight is part of life's great mystery, too. We have traveled so far together through the world of penguins, from the warm beaches of Africa to the frozen heart of Antarctica. Now, as our journey approaches its peaceful conclusion, let us slow our pace even further, settling into the deepest and most restful stillness. The facts and wonders we have explored will wait for you, patient and unchanged, should you ever wish to revisit them. For now, there is nothing more to learn, nothing more to understand, only the gentle release of all thought into the welcoming darkness of rest. Breathe slowly, feel your body growing heavier, more relaxed. Imagine yourself now as a penguin who has finished the day's activities, standing at the edge of a quiet colony as evening light softens the world. The ocean stretches before you, calm and silver in the fading light, its gentle swells rocking rhythmically like the breath of the planet itself. There is nowhere you need to go, nothing you need to do. The fishing is done, the feeding is complete, and now there is only rest. Your eyes grow heavy as the last light fades from the sky, the world dissolving into peaceful darkness. In this moment, you are safe, warm, and utterly at peace. The sounds of the colony are growing quieter now, the calls of neighbors fading to soft murmurs that blend with the whisper of wind across ice. These gentle sounds form a lullaby that has soothed penguins for millions of years, ancient rhythms of community and peace that continue unchanged in the stillness of Antarctic nights. Let these imagined sounds carry you deeper into relaxation, each distant call a reminder that you are not alone, that even in rest we are connected to others who share this world. The hum of life continues softly around you as you drift toward sleep. Picture the stars beginning to emerge above the Antarctic ice, pinpoints of light that have guided penguins across dark oceans for countless generations. These same stars shine above you tonight, connecting you to every penguin that has ever tilted its head to wonder at the vastness above. The universe is immense beyond comprehension, yet in this moment, you are exactly where you need to be, held gently on the spinning earth, safe beneath a canopy of ancient light. Let the stars watch over you as sleep draws nearer, each breath carrying you closer to the deep rest you deserve. The temperature of your body is finding its perfect balance, warmth spreading through your limbs like the slow circulation of heated water through a penguin's body after a cold dive. Your muscles release the last of their tension, softening into the support beneath you. There is no effort required now, only the natural processes of rest that your body knows how to perform without conscious guidance. Trust in your body's ancient wisdom, the knowledge of sleep that every living creature shares. Let yourself be carried by that wisdom into deeper and deeper relaxation. Each breath you take now is slower, deeper, more peaceful than the last. The rhythm of your breathing matches the slow swell of Antarctic waves, the eternal pulse of ocean against ice that has continued without interruption since before any penguin existed. This rhythm is older than thought, older than worry, older than any concern that might have troubled your waking mind. Surrender to this ancient rhythm, letting it carry you like a wave carries a resting penguin, effortless, supported, completely at peace. In and out, rise and fall, breath and rest. The worries of the day are distant now, small and far away, like a penguin colony seen from far out at sea, merely specks on a distant shore that grow smaller with each passing moment. Whatever concerns you carried into this night have been set down for now, left on some distant beach where they can wait until you are ready to retrieve them. Tonight, there is only rest. Tonight, there is only peace. Let the distance grow between you and all that troubles you, carried further away by the gentle current of approaching sleep. In the deep waters where penguins dive, there is a point where the surface world disappears entirely, replaced by a blue silence more profound than anything on land. Imagine sinking gently into such silence now, the noise and demands of daily life fading into the blue above you while you descend into perfect stillness. This is the silence of deep rest, the quiet that allows healing and restoration to occur. There is nothing to fear in this descent, only the welcoming embrace of restorative sleep, holding you safe until morning returns. Your body is becoming lighter now, floating on the boundary between waking and sleeping, that gentle threshold where dreams begin to stir. Like a penguin floating motionless on calm seas, you drift without direction or destination, carried by currents that know where to take you. The thoughts that might have occupied your mind earlier are dissolving like ice in warm water, leaving only smoothness and peace. There is nothing you need to hold on to, nothing you need to remember. Simply float, simply rest, simply be. The penguins of your imagination have settled into their own rest now, standing in peaceful groups across the ice, their eyes closed, their bodies still. The colony is quiet, the ocean is calm, and the stars turn slowly overhead in patterns that have marked the passage of nights for millions of years. You are part of this great stillness now, connected to all the resting creatures of the world, humans and penguins alike, all finding refuge in sleep from the efforts of day. In this shared rest, we are one. In this peaceful night, we belong. Sleep is drawing very close now, a gentle tide rising to carry you away from the shores of waking. Like a penguin tucking its bill into its feathers, you can release the last connections to the waking world, allowing your awareness to fold gently inward. The journey we have shared through the world of penguins has reached its peaceful end, but the feelings of calm and wonder can stay with you, companions in the land of dreams. Nothing more is asked of you. Nothing more is needed. Only rest, only peace, only sleep. If you have found comfort in our time together, exploring the gentle world of penguins, perhaps when you wake, you might remember to share this peaceful journey with others by leaving a like or subscribing to our channel. But that is for tomorrow, for waking hours. Right now, the only thing that matters is your rest, your peace, your descent into the healing darkness of sleep. Let all thoughts of tomorrow drift away like clouds passing across the midnight sky, leaving only stars and stillness behind. May your dreams be filled with gentle images. Penguins sliding across pristine ice, ocean waves rolling endlessly toward distant shores, colonies of creatures resting together in peaceful harmony. May the calm you have found in these moments extend through the night, carrying you through whatever dreams may come, and may you wake refreshed, restored, and ready to greet a new day with the same resilience and grace that penguins bring to their extraordinary lives. For now, sleep. For now, rest. For now, let everything else fall away. The night holds you gently, as the Antarctic holds its penguins, as the ocean holds all who swim within it. You are safe. You are calm. You are ready for the deep restoration that only sleep can bring. The penguins of the world continue their ancient cycles while you rest, diving and swimming and caring for their young. But you need not think of that now. You need not think of anything at all. Let your mind become as smooth and still as ice under a windless sky, reflecting only stars and silence. Good night, gentle traveler. May the peace of penguins, steady and sure, remain with you through the night. May the vastness of the oceans they cross remind you that you too can navigate any challenge. And may the warmth they share in their huddles remind you that you are never truly alone. Sleep well, dream gently, and know that whenever you need this peace again, the penguins will be waiting, ready to share their world of wonder once more. Until then, rest. Rest deeply. Rest completely. Good night.